This edition of One Play Wednesday is going to highlight one of the Ravens' most unstoppable plays through 5 weeks. It's a play that has been in Greg Roman and the Ravens playbook dating back to 2018. In fact, once Lamar was inserted as a starting quarterback. Of course, Greg Roman wasn't the offensive coordinator at that time, but they did use this concept. 2019, they used it to great effect. A little bit more so integrated into the playbook in 2020. In 2021, of course, Lamar missed a lot of time at the end of the season with an injury. There were teams who have stopped this play prior to the season. So far in 2022, this has been one of the Ravens' money plays. There is a complementary play to this, QB counter read, that is not going to be shown in this video. I will briefly explain it for anyone who's watching this that maybe is a Giants fan or a Bengals fan. So I'm going to show two iterations of it against the Bengals, and then I'm going to provide a little bit of context, some previous plays that have been used this season, and hopefully give you some indicators or some pre-snap markers as a fan watching the game and trying to diagnose things, if that's what you like to do, on how to detect it. So, first and 5, this is the Ravens' game-winning drive against the Bengals, and they go against some of their tendencies here, running this QB power read. You will get the end zone angle. But just so you know, the read man is Sam Hubbard, who's a great player. The running back is going to cross Lamar's face. The left guard, Ben Powers, is going to pull and wrap up to the inside linebacker level, the second level. Lamar is reading Sam Hubbard in most cases. Some of us offer that he's actually reading the inside linebacker at times, and that's what makes the play so dangerous, because sometimes he reads the DN, sometimes it's the inside linebacker, and you as a defender don't know. But in any case, he keeps it. Almost takes this thing to the house. If he doesn't fall over Devin Duvernay's foot right here, it's quite possible that this is over, or at least he's going to skirt out of bounds somewhere around the 28, 30-yard line. It's a devastating play for multiple reasons. Number one, you've got Mark Andrews backside. You've got another tight end over here, Isaiah Likely, who can block. I believe this is Devin Duvernay up top, and he's a fantastic blocker, very underrated. Most of the time, this is packaged or used with motion by Devin Duvernay, okay? So you're going to get the end zone angle. So when I say they're going against their tendencies a little bit, they're not motioning to do this, number one. And you'll get some examples of this, but in any case, there's the read man. It looks like Sam Hubbard should be stepping down and the linebacker flowing over the top. I can't imagine that the Giants or someone soon, when they get this set running back to Lamar's one side or the other of Lamar, the DN to the opposite side isn't going to be coached to step down violently, take the quarterback in terms of the option, and then scrape or gap exchange the inside linebacker over the top. But there's so many complementary plays that the Ravens use that make it somewhat difficult for you to do that. All right, so 19-yard gain, put them in field goal range. I've got to put another screen up here for a moment. I can only use the end zone angle of this play, because previously the All-22 angle has been utilized by Baldy or someone at NFL Network. If you're interested in joining my Discord or Patreon, there's a link in the description. Feel free to do that. You get access to a Ravens Discord. Fans of other teams can join too, and you get access to a film database, so you don't have to buy Game Pass. All right, so end zone angle. This is QB power read again, except now you got that motion by Duvernay that I talked about. So he's motioning, and Lamar is reading the outside linebacker or the DN to the side, who you can see has expanded. He's expanded. Why is he doing that? Because the running back this time is trying to cross his face. A lot of 3-4 outside linebackers are coached, don't let the running back cross your face. So Mike Davis is a potential lead blocker if the ball's given to Duvernay. You have the same pulling guard as you had on the previous play that I showed you. You have Ben Powers pulling, and a great job by Patrick Ricard here. All right, he basically picks up two people. This is Lamar's 79-yard touchdown run that I think put the Ravens up 35-14, maybe 35-21 in the third quarter. So it's a devastating play. Sometimes it's utilized with motion by Devin Duvernay. Sometimes it's not. All right, now, same game. This is not the same play. You do have a different running back here, and I would offer to you that you're not going to get QB power read with Patrick Ricard in the backfield, at least so far. Greg Roman's a little bit predictable. This season, at least, it's usually been Mike Davis here when you get Devin Duvernay in motion, and the potential for Duvernay to keep it on the sweep. And you'll get an example from the Bengals game in a moment where you can see just that. Now, this is not QB power read. They're actually coming backside to Rashad Bateman. This is what makes the play. This is a complementary play to the QB power read. It can be used on the backside, particularly when you get man-to-man. You can see this real cool release by Bateman on the bottom side here, taking Xavier Howard to the outside, putting his foot in the ground. I mean, beating him badly, taking the thing to the house, 75-yard touchdown run early in the game. That video is not sped up, by the way. It looks like it's sped up. That's the second time I've said that. All right, so you get the idea. You've got a running back, Mike Davis, to one side. you get motion generally by the slot receiver and potential to run sweep to the bottom side or QB power read, the quarterback keep it. Some people call it inverted veer. You'll get the end zone angle of this one as well. So you got the mesh between Lamar and Duvernay. There's your read man who's expanding with the running back. He's taught in the classical manner of a 3-4 OLB. Don't let the running back cross your face. So he's going to collision him and try to force all the action inside. So they're working against those rules. Lamar keeps it. You've got the pulling lineman, and once again, you've got who on the side of the running back? Patrick Ricard. So twin slot A-gun is one of the formations the Ravens run this out of. If you're interested in those type of designations, I try to give you that data. I actually have the data on screen up at the top, but you can't see it because there's a frame in your way. So Ricard and Davis on the same side, we call that A-gun. If Davis was on the opposite side, that would be B. Generally, we're running the motion to the side of Ricard because we want to use him to combo up to the second level. And you can see, once again, Ben Powers is pulling, and Lamar's going to keep it. Who does he follow? Ben Powers and Patrick Ricard. There's those two sandwiching a guy right there. Lamar keeping it for an 11-yard gain on a 2nd and 3. It's not always utilized with motion. When I say motion, I mean motion at the snap. Sometimes the Ravens run it to trips. And I can't remember who it is, but someone who's a very astute commenter on my channel has talked about, running some of these plays back to the one receiver side. So it's this right here where there's one receiver. Ravens don't do that so far. We're going to run the QB power read to our left. Who's over there? Patrick Ricard. So this is actually B-gun, but we're running it 2 trips. I think they caught the Patriots off guard with some of this, and I think they caught the Bengals off guard on the first play that I showed you. So 38-yard gain. This time the right guard's pulling. You again have Ricard comboing up to the backside inside linebacker. Zeitler's pulling for the front side inside linebacker, who is a smaller, undersized guy. Actually, it's a DB. My apologies. I think that's Jabril Peppers. Lamar keeps it, almost takes it to the house. 38-yard gain on 1st and 10. You're going to get the end zone angle. Again, if Ricard stayed here, I contend that you would get motion left to right, and then Lamar would be reading Matthew Judon. For whatever reason, they want to run it over to this side. They want to read that D end, which I think is wise. So as the back grows to cross his face, Lamar is going to determine that this D end would be in position to tackle the running back, so he's going to keep it. Who's he follow? Patrick Ricard and a pulling guard. Not saying it's a simple concept and one that's easy to stop. I mean, Lamar makes the engine go, right? But it's a great execution, if you ask me. Generally, blocking at the point of attack, but what's the idea behind the option? Some of you aren't going to like this. If you have a great DN that you can't block, don't. That's really one of the foundational elements of the option game is if you cannot block a guy because it's a bad matchup for you, then don't block him, read him. Another trip set, so it's B-gun. The running back, Justice Hill, is on the left, and there's Patrick Ricard on the right. They're going to run the QB power read to the top side, to the trip side. Lamar's going to keep it. This time, the Patriots inside linebacker, number 8, I think, is Bentley. Maybe it's number 6. Really underrated player, if you ask me. You'll see Ben Powers pull. They've really elongated the edge here a little bit. So Powers wasn't able to run on the typical track. He had to expand it just a little bit to get around here. And then Bentley just stuffs it in the hole right there. Boom. And there's nowhere for Lamar to go. It ends up being a 2 or 3 yard gain on a 1st and 10. You'll get the end zone angle. You'll see what I mean. Bentley is here. Again, running back on Lamar's left. Ricard on the right. So it's not A-gun like I offered earlier because it's not twin slot. It is trips right B-gun. And you see Ricard is going to combo up, trying to get the backside guy, which is that hybrid safety linebacker guy that the Patriots really like a lot, Phillips. And this guy, number 9, he does a great job. Look at him long arm Moses there so that he doesn't get taken down and the edge doesn't get shortened. He's maintained the edge, and he also is able to get involved with the tackle. Bentley's there as well. So to stop it, you need a badass D tackle or defensive end, or you just need to give Lamar a give read, which is what I think teams are got to do eventually. Huge play here. 3rd and 2, Ravens' 3rd drive. They get a touchdown out of this drive. Looks like the same play, right? You got Mike Davis leading. You've got the right guard pulling. The only difference is this time, this will be the read man. They're not reading it. This is a called handoff. This is a called give. Lamar's not reading this. He's giving it. I understand now why Mike Davis is out here leading. Watch what he does to Von Bell. This is Von Bell. That's Mike Davis. Von Bell's a badass football player. Like, you want him on your team if you want to win games. I see now why Mike Davis is out there. My only problem with it as a Ravens fan is at some point you got to put someone else here to lead block for this potential sweep. Otherwise, I feel like it becomes predictable. You don't get the end zone angle of this one, but you just have to trust me that this will be the read man, Trey Hendrickson. Not only are we not leaving him unblocked, we're actually double teaming him, and I think it works against the Ravens here. Andrews going to pin, I think this is Pratt, 57, another underrated football player for the Bengals. And what they do with Stanley and Ricard is they double team Hendrickson. I think that Ricard should just basically use a zone concept here, a zone technique, and just frame him up a little bit on his way by to the backside inside linebacker. There is just no way with this motion that Zeitler is going to be able to pull and get out to him when Logan Wilson is running this track here. There's just no way for him to get to him. The only guy who could possibly get to him would be Ricard, and he would have to use a vastly different technique than this one, where he's trying to sandwich Hendrickson down. And you can see Ricard tries to get to him. I think he's just too heavy on that. I think he's got to post him with his inside arm and move up now. He's too heavy on Hendrickson, who they've really moved out of the play. I get it. You want to take away the head of the snake, and Hendrickson's their biggest shit talker. He's one of their, most bad dudes in terms of the Bengals defense. I understand. And they got the first down. It was like a 9 or 11-yard gain, something like that. So you see the idea. When you get, I'm going to fast forward one play. When you get motion by Duve, to the side of the running back, coming from the opposite side. Now, he doesn't go in motion on this play. You've got the threat of the running back leading, Duve getting the ball, Andrews pinning down on someone inside, or if he's got, let's say he's got a strong safety here, Andrews just going and stalk blocking that guy, just go stalk block here, right? Force the safety to come up. And now think about the play against the Dolphins. What I just described, Duve in motion, the safety coming up to help stop the run play, the sweep threat. What does that leave? It leaves a guy backside, theoretically man-to-man, especially if you roll another safety back to center field. Now, the Dolphins on the play that I described a moment ago, they had a middle-of-the-field safety already there. And the Ravens are running this to the opposite side. So now they're running it at Duvernay. All right, as opposed to Duvernay motioning, the back leading, and then Lamar, I'm going to get these lines off the screen, and then Lamar keeping it behind the pulling right guard and running it to the left, the offense's left, the downside of the screen for you. Now they're doing it the other way. So when I say that the Ravens are going against their tendencies, they are a little bit in terms of the QB power read. They can run it to either side, clearly. I've shown you plays of them pulling the right guard. I've shown you plays of them, a bunch of them pulling the left guard. This was a huge moment, and I think this is what is really challenging about defending Lamar and the Ravens right now. In these situations, late in a half or late in a game, teams do not expect this. You can do this with Lamar and he can pick up 20 yards. I mean, who cares how you do it? If you're throwing, if you're passing. Now, it's at a certain point, less than a minute left, there does become a time where maybe you can't do this, but this is pretty close. I think this is 56 seconds left in the game. I could be wrong. So the Ravens are just trying to get in field goal range. At some point, teams, when they have the back opposite them, are just going to have to run at Lamar, force him to give it to these running backs, whether it's Kenyon Drake, whether it's J.K. Dobbins, no matter who it is, they're going to have to force a give read and get the ball out of this man's hands. Now, it's possible that Wink Martindale's answer is going to be to bring the sticks blitz zero. Hold on, let me load up this other play. It's possible that Wink Martindale is going to utilize sticks blitz zero to bring heavy pressure to get the ball out of Lamar's hands. That's a bad idea if we run QB power. Because if we run QB power, all we've got to do is take everybody down, meaning block everyone this way, and then all Lamar needs is one seam, and if you're running sticks blitz zero against QB power, it's over. Think of the Dolphins play. That was man-free. It wasn't sticks blitz zero, but they were trying to load the box. This is a 3rd and 2 to win the game, basically. Now, the thing about this is we're not using Duvernay in motion. We are now bringing Ricard over in a joker set, and Ricard is potentially leading. So Lamar could give this football, and we're still in business, but I offer to you that teams have to violently step this guy down to force a give read and make our running backs run around the edge. You know, we got to get a good stalk block here, a good stalk block here, and then gap exchange the inside linebacker over the top. The problem with that is, the reason why they're not doing that is because if you auto scrape exchange the guy, and I'm talking about this linebacker here, and Lamar does keep it and something goes wrong, it's over. It's a touchdown. So I'm talking about, now it doesn't work out that way, on this play necessarily, because I think this guy does a pretty good job. I'm talking about auto running Logan Wilson out, and then this guy stepping down such to force a give read by Lamar. Teams actually did that in 2020. The Tennessee Titans did that a lot at certain points in the playoff game. Actually, in the regular season game, when they came to Baltimore and beat the Ravens. In the regular season, of course, the Ravens went down there in the 2020 playoffs and took out the Titans, knocked them out that year. There's teams who have defended this well. It surprised me that it worked against the Bengals so well, to be honest with you, because I think so highly of the Bengals defense. Wink Martindale and the Giants, at this point in time, as I record this on Wednesday, they've clearly already decided upon their plan on how to stop it. The problem is Greg Roman and the Ravens are utilizing multiple formations. They're not nearly as predictable, in my opinion, as just, they're running it with the sweep of Duvernay, because we can hit you with the slant backside. We can give it to Duvernay on the sweep, or we can run it with no motion. It's a dangerous play. It's not a throwback to 50 years ago. This is a modern football play. To use a word that I really don't like using at all, modern. Everybody talks about the modern game. This is a part of that. If you only watch the NFL, that's why you don't think it's a part of the modern game. It's actually, the NFL is actually late to this. This play's been used for 20 years in high school and the college level, and even before that. So Lamar and them using it is actually an advancement, if you ask me, of the spread offense. It's actually spreading you horizontally as much as possible, forcing you to defend 11 people or 7 guys in the box in terms of the quarterback actually being a runner. Let me know what you guys think of my breakdown of Lamar's QB power replay. It's devastating for the Ravens right now. I fully expect some NFL defense to come in with a great plan to stop it and really limit what Lamar's able to do in terms of this concept. The only problem is the Ravens have complementary plays that I think threaten the defense, maybe to a different degree. But if you have Rashad Bateman, and you have Devin Duvernay, you have J.K. Dobbins, or even Gus Edwards, who's more of a downhill runner. But any of those guys can break tackles and make big plays too. And it causes real problems for the defense to try to match up to each element of these plays. Appreciate you guys' time. Let me know what you think of this video. This is obviously not one play. It's an examination of the concept that the Ravens are using and how they've used it to really take the NFL by storm through 5 weeks.